what's clear to me is that although this is a time of really serious stress and strain with a very high emotional content and a substantive problem of grinding of gears. Phil, are you going to be speaking later? I don't want to speak for, I won't dare speak for the United States, but from what I could perceive on the outside, the practice of diplomacy is as vitally important as ever, and getting it together, getting Turkish and American strategic concepts together of what our shared interests are and how to go about them, specifically with reference to Syria, is a work that remains in progress and is just got to get done. Clearly the spoiler in this, painfully the spoiler in this, was the PKK, from what all of us can see here. And it's striking to me. I understand the reasons why many in the Turkish public and in the government language, people see the United States as weirdly on the side of the PKK. Clearly, to me, that has never been the case. I don't believe that's the case now. Again, I'll leave it to officials to explain what this is all about, but I don't think it's in the interest of this relationship for people on the Turkish side, on the government side, even the politicians, although I understand why they're reflecting the popular anger, to do anything to feed that idea that the United States is the enemy at a time when Turkey has enough enemies. You know, the real attitude of Russia toward Turkey in the region now is very, very clear. Perhaps a year ago, there were Turks who were able to say, well, Russia, you know, we may be able to do some deals with them or something. First invading Crimea, then now what they're doing in Syria. I don't think there are any Turkish illusions about Russia. But for politicians to sort of lump in the United States in the same breath as the PKK, I don't think is going to lead us anywhere good. On the U.S. side, it is important to defeat ISIS, no question. That's what I'm certain Turkey wants to do from speaking with Turks, and what Turkey's neighbors want to do. I was in the region because at the Atlantic Council we have a Middle East Strategy Task Force led by Madeleine Albright, Democrat, and Stephen Hadley, Republican. We went to Tunisia, we went to Cairo, we went to Amman, Riyadh, Abu Dhabi, Dubai. I peeled off and went to Ankara and Istanbul. So we were looking at the regional context. We'll have the co-chairs will report out after we have a president-elect on November 6th, and hopefully brief on a bipartisan basis for a strategic approach to the world. We specifically, however, are in consultation with everyone, and we're finding that if we make ISIS the strategic focus, we'll probably fail. We'll miss all else. We'll minimize our attention to other things that need attention as part of a grand strategy. And so we can get tricked into looking at tactical allies of the moment and missing some of the strategic interests of the United States in our region. And I think that may be what's at work here in the collaboration with the PYD. My own view is the PYD has at least expressed its difference with the PKK. We cannot be deluded by that. Americans have to understand the PYD is a part of the PKK. There's no sense in pretending otherwise. The PKK is a declared armed enemy of the Republic of Turkey, and the Republic of Turkey is a NATO ally. So that makes the equation really clear with respect to the PKK in the U.S. The PYD has put a little bit of sand in those gears. The PYD, it seems to me, needs to give reality to what it claims. It has claimed several times publicly that it's not the enemy of Turkey. It has to act that way. And it seems to me the United States, if we're going to work with the PYD or any group that's associated with an enemy of Turkey, we have to make that group, it has to prove its bona fides. And we cannot just pretend otherwise. I don't think that's beyond the power of American and Turkish diplomacy to do, actually. So we'll see how how that turns out. I think if we could solve that piece of the Syrian puzzle, it would clear a lot of the air. God knows the Syria equation is much more complicated even than the Kurdish piece of it. But if the U.S. and Turkey can explicitly work out a common vision for the way minority groups, ethnic groups, linguistic groups of the region might sort themselves out over the future, I don't think there's any more influential state than Turkey to have a role in that. And the United States, if we care, I hope we care, ought to be partnering closely with Turkey to do it.